Welcome to New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast, the podcast for serious soccer players and their supporters to help further their development and navigate their way throughout their soccer careers. And now, here's your host, Matt Langone.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Langone, joined in studio as usual by NESJ writer Matt Doherty. Matt, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to be back in the studio here. And we got a great guest today for everyone. It's Nico Calabria, who captains the United States men's National Amputee Soccer Team. Nico, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Obviously, you have a great story to tell about, your journey into soccer and all that. We're going to get into that. And I know you guys have a big competition coming up this month in Weymouth. So let's just start off by kind of talking about your story. You're a local guy, right? You grew up, I believe it's Concord, Mass. Is that where you grew up?
Yeah. I moved to Concord when I was 10 years old and had been playing soccer before that. I was born with one leg and played on crutches basically since I was 5. And went up through the middle school team, freshman JV, and made the varsity team my senior year. And basically, played non-disabled, able-bodied soccer all growing up, and it prepared me well to play amp football for the U.S.
Yeah, when you hear that right off the bat, I mean, being born without a leg and then playing soccer, it's an incredible. You wouldn't expect that because of the way soccer is played, obviously.
Yeah, so, why did you pick the sport with the feet? Missing one of them? Yeah,
right,
exactly.
You still have arms. Why not use those arms? I mean, it's like that's like the craziest thing about it is. So what was it that soccer that drew you in, and how many naysayers were there in the beginning saying like maybe a different sport, maybe try something else?
Well, it ran in the family for sure. Some of my earliest memories are with my brother and dad, who were both big soccer players. And this was prior to really realizing how different I was. I'm 5 years old. I see a soccer ball and my brother's kicking it. It's just kind of natural to go off and kick it on my own. So I just played and it ran in the family and I loved it. And I was pretty good. It's peewee soccer. It's little league. And it wasn't, I could hold my own. And I just really enjoyed the community around it. And there were definitely some naysayers. When I moved to Concord, actually, I grew up in Indianapolis and never had any issues there. And when I moved to Mass in 2001, I have this distinct memory of needing to go in front of the Mass Ref Association to get clearance to play. And at that point in time, I basically would pad my crutches with PVC pipe insulation, similar to like wearing a shin guard or whatever, more to keep other people safe than for anything else. And the memory I have is standing in front of this board as a 9-year-old and my dad whacking himself in the head with my padded crutch and basically saying like, we can make it safe and he's not going to use it as a weapon. And then asking the refs like, all right, now come over here and I'm going to cleat you. And, he's an engineer. I don't know if that comes through in the way that story comes out, but he had to advocate for me. And then it ended up, got cleared to play. I think there were also some folks who had a little bit of a concern around the beauty of the game, whatever that meant to them. That didn't end up making much of a difference. The safety thing was the big one. And then throughout my playing career, I definitely saw a lot of folks that had, raised eyebrows, getting off the away bus, playing for CCHS. It's great. It's nice that they're letting this kid play. What a feel-good story. Nobody heard him. Let's give him some space. This is good. And then the game will get started and they'll realize that I'm a threat. Like, you have to guard me. I'm going to play physically. I'm not going to get hurt, So after the game, the feeling and the look that I get from the other players feels much different than getting off the bus. And that's one of the really cool things about soccer and my experience playing around the world and in all these different spaces is that it really just, it breaks down barriers. We all love this game and it's such a great way of building connections and changing perspectives.
Yeah, I love that. Can you give our listeners a little insight into amputee soccer? Like, what is that like, the sport, like the style of play and sort of how your game is in that setting, and sort of describe to us you as a player and how it fits into amputee soccer.
Sure. Well, amputee soccer is played 7v7. The 6 field players all have 1 leg and 4-arm crutches. You're not allowed to touch the ball with the crutches. It's called like a handball rule in non-disabled soccer. You're not allowed to use your residual limb, so the leg that you're missing. Some people are below the knee, some are above the knee, to either touch the ball or the ground. So basically, you move on the crutches in 1 leg and you strike the ball with 1 foot. Instead of throw-ins, it's indirect kick-ins. There's no offsides. And the goalkeepers have 1 arm and are required to stay in the 8x8 goalie box. So there's a lot of rebounds. And really, it's extremely fast and physical. I think people are surprised by the level of physicality there is. It's like, it's a full contact sport, and you're adding in, weapons. So it's definitely intense. And I think as far as tactics and the flow of the game, it's played a lot more like futsal. You have that kind of rotational movement in the front where people are kind of checking in and out of spaces. The offside line makes it much easier to spread the defense and leave players high and wide to create space in the center. And the best teams in the world are just on this beautiful positionless soccer where they're rotating through the center out of the space into the space and playing 1 and 2 touch for the most part. I think for me, it was a really interesting transition into amputee football because I grew up playing number 10 kind of drop forward position that had very little defensive responsibility in able-bodied soccer. Because on the defensive side of the ball, I was definitely a liability. In tight spaces, my close down speed was good, but sprint speed, I'm one of the slowest players, if not the slowest player on the field when I was playing at CCHS. So I played I was a distributor. I had really good touch. I had really good vision, and I would, get the ball into dangerous areas quickly. That was really my goal. Find pockets of space and get it to our goal scorers. And then when I turned 16, I went and played in my first amputee soccer game in Mexico. And it was a wild difference. Like instead of being a facilitator, I was the fastest player on the field, the most dangerous player on the field. Quickly was, I was one of the best players in the world at the age of 16. And it was a total mindset shift for me to want to keep the ball and take players on and look to score and be a star. So I would say it's been a tough transition to do that. I still really love playing 2-touch soccer and controlling the ball and getting into dangerous players and dangerous positions. But definitely more likely to take people on in the amputee soccer game.
Nico, how common is your pathway in the amputee soccer world? Did a lot of the players you've come across, did they play high school soccer as well? Did they kind of have that similar thing as you where, their role was a lot different at the high school level, where like you said, you went from being one of the slowest players on the pitch to the fastest player on the pitch and just having a different set of responsibilities. Is that common amongst the other players you're now competing with?
I would say there's a wide variety of experiences. I'd say mine is relatively unique, only in the sense that one, you can have a congenital disability or you can have an acquired disability. So folks who are congenital typically, they've never known anything different, so they're just doing what they're doing. People who have acquired a disability, they are learning again, right? They're learning life on 1 leg or with 1 arm. So there's a transition period that takes place, and for the most part, people will play non-disabled soccer on 2 legs and lose a leg later on. Hopefully your non-dominant foot. Like more often than not, what ends up happening is that like, I used to be a righty and like now I'm a lefty.
Right.
So there's that definitely like a learning again that takes place for a lot of folks. Some people play on their prosthetics in non-disabled settings. So they're, if you're below the knee amputee, you can really play at a pretty high level through high school, definitely. So I'd say there's less of a transition there, but my experience having grown up playing soccer on crutches at a really high speed with the non-disabled game is relatively rare. And I think is one of the reasons that I was well prepared to lead Team USA. Just had that experience of playing on my crutches since I was a little kid. So that first step speed and the fluency and kind of natural movement on crutches, people who have never played amp soccer, they come with their prosthetic and they're like, wait, are you serious? I have to take this off and play on crutches? Why would I do that? And it's basically because that's how we level the playing field. Because for me and for someone who's an above the knee amputee, this is how it's fair. So that learning how to use crutches is a big curve. It's also extremely physically demanding, and it leads to people like, unless they're really trying to get after it, I think people tend to shy away from amp soccer because it'll kick your ass.
Well, I was gonna say, just out of necessity. I mean, because of how you had to live and how you had to compete. How strong did your upper body get early on? I mean, I'm usually I'm looking at some photos of you playing online. There's a strain right on the upper body using the crutches. I mean, because that's where a lot of that balance is coming from, I imagine. So how much strength did you gain up there out of necessity?
Yeah, I mean, just maybe not like max bench or anything, but just like stabilizing. Yeah, like the stabilizing muscles, like similar to how like my arms are my legs in a lot of sense.
Right.
You know, so like my shoulders are my hips. And it's just like the balance muscles that are in there, the stability. Like my dip, I could do a lot of dips. You know, I can do a lot of dips. And then also, you know, my leg is just prepared for single leg movement. So it's like plyometrics on one foot. And we know that like first step is so important in pretty much any sport. Your footwork and how fast your first step is one of the things that sets apart explosive and non-explosive athletes. So hopping around on a daily basis since I was 3 years old is definitely like prepared. It's a full body workout for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm curious about your how you started with the United States team. You mentioned that tournament you played in when you were 16 in Mexico. Like, when did you become an official member of the national team, and how long have you played for that team? And you know, what has that experience been like for you in terms of playing in these World Cups, and kind of take me through like the USA team, how the team's formed, and sort of how long you've been a member of it, and obviously becoming captain as well.
Yeah. So when I was 7 years old, there was a picture that got posted in a local newspaper of me playing on crutches, and the former president of the American Amputee Soccer Association, which is the governing body of the sport in the States, found the picture or was sent it and reached out to my family and said, you know, when he turns 16, he's eligible to play for Team USA. And that's what I did. So I went and played. I had never played with amputees prior to flying to Mexico and playing in an international game. And that was because the sport of amp football in the States really had not been developed at that point. So there was no youth program. There were no regional programs. And yeah, and we also recognize that that's not a great way to recruit people. Hey, who can pay for a ticket and come play in an international tournament as the first time you're ever trying a sport? I had really tried the sport in a lot of ways because I had been playing on crutches, but we know that that's not the best way of developing the next generation of players. So, yeah, it was kind of, my family was, you know, I came from a privileged background. My parents could pay for a plane ticket for me, and like support me going to that tournament. And that's how I got my start. And like I said earlier, I was a really good player kind of right off the bat and fell in love with it. For having played so long and been close to quitting a few times in my career growing up, where it's like, I'm working super hard and it really does suck to feel like I'm at such a disadvantage all the time. Getting to play on an even playing field where it wasn't about whether or not I had a disability, it was about my mindset and my talent and my work ethic. That was so refreshing, because then it was just, it had nothing to do with disability. It had everything to do with mindset and the things that I saw in myself as being, you know, a strong athlete. Yeah. So from that period forward, I just, you know, fell in love with it, and yeah, became the captain like a year later, and been to 3 World Cups as the captain now, and just qualified for a 4th. And we're just seeing the growth of the sport in the States and around the world. It's, you know, miles ahead of where it was when I started. And it's just, it's really, it's great to see. People love it. I think people find there's the whole side of amputee soccer that is this is a good thing for the world. It's good for people with disabilities to have community and play sport. It changes mindsets. And then there's the side of it that it's highly entertaining. It's really like at the high levels, it's good soccer. It's really good soccer. And it's very similar to the, you know, 11-a-side game. So I think the entertainment value that people are seeing in the sport is increasing. And I think that in 10 years, 15 years, we'll look back and think and see that it is a worldwide phenomenon that's played in stadiums and really well supported.
Yeah, yeah. So the USA team, like how often do you guys practice together, train together? Like what's that schedule looking like with that team? And so you said you were the captain when you were like 17. How old are you now? And so you've been with the program for a long time.
Yeah. I've been with the program since 2011.
Okay.
And yeah, been the captain since 2012. As far as our schedule goes, there's not a super regular schedule like you would see with the 11-a-side game that's, fully established. We live across the country, so getting together for us is expensive, and people have jobs, full-time jobs, families. It's, we're not paid to play right now, so which is disappointing because that is the definition of professional. We treat it like a profession. But as far as the infrastructure and the ability to get us together more often, that's a barrier for us. So in the run up to this World Cup, which happens every 4 years, we'll train once a month from January until August when the tournament's going to happen. So four of those will be training camps, and then 2 of those will be international friendly competitions.
Sure. Okay.
Nico, the 2026 World Cup, you mentioned you guys have already qualified for that, obviously. How does that, how will that work in terms of venues? Are the venues spread out across North America, like the World Cup will be next year, or where will you guys be playing? Where will that be held?
Yeah, so this one is going to be in Costa Rica.
Okay.
So the Amputee Soccer is governed by an organization called WAF, the World Amputee Football Federation. They have a partnership with FIFA, but they're separate entities. And, the 11-a-side World Cup that's going to be played in the States, it's a independent tournament of that. The schedule is completely ridiculous because, like I said, we can't go for 5 weeks. We go for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you're playing a game every day with maybe one rest day. So yeah, to be honest, the load as an athlete competing in these tournaments is extreme. It is completely extreme. And I remember teaching full time when I was 4 years ago, training for that World Cup, and coming back from our World Cup qualifiers, playing 6 games in 7 days and barely being able to walk, and then kind of hobbling into my classroom, and also having that experience of extreme pressure and the highs and lows of that tournament, qualifying with our backs against the wall. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I gotta commit my whole time to playing soccer. So I left my teaching job.
I was going to ask, where are you living full time now? Are you still in Massachusetts, or? Yeah,
I'm in Watertown.
Oh, nice. So you mentioned you gave up teaching to concentrate more on this, because as you said, I mean, this is you're treating it like a profession, but not necessarily getting the treatment that professional soccer players get. Was that a difficult decision for you to leave teaching? Or, I mean, was that just out of necessity? I mean, what's kind of the future outlook for you here? Do you want to go back to teaching? I mean, in terms of your actual profession?
Yeah. I mean, I love teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't leave because I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
But amputee soccer was just calling really loud at that point. A lot of the work that I've done is to build the infrastructure of this sport in the United States, which includes, everything you'd see in any other sport, to have a pipeline towards elite competition. So developing regional club teams, developing youth teams, and a pipeline from one to the next. So that's a lot of what I'm doing, is kind of traveling around and helping teams get started and starting clinics. I launched the first team here in New England back in 2019. And we've seen, we have 13 programs across the country now, all at different levels of development. But it's a step in the right direction, so that kids like me growing up have a place where they can go and play and learn how to play this sport from a young age and kind of see a pathway. I'm content with kind of having left my job and fake it till you make it, basically. Like, I'm going to treat it like a profession. Amen. And I know in the future that there will be people who will enjoy it as a profession.
Right.
And get to do it. I'm 31 right now, so it probably won't be it might be at the tail end of my playing career, certainly not in my prime. But yeah, I think this has been my life's work to this point is to help this sport grow, help the American Amp Soccer Association grow. And I wouldn't change it. But I do accept donations.
But you've traveled the world. You're promoting the sport, telling your story. But I mean, we do a soccer podcast, so we're focused on the soccer aspect. But I mean, you summited Mount Kilimanjaro, right? I mean, that's first ever person on crutches to do that. I mean, that's an insane accomplishment in and of itself. Just tell us about that experience and just how that even came about.
Sure. Yeah, and when we turned 13 in my family, we went on a coming of age adventure. My dad took the boys and my mom took my sister, and you got to pick anywhere in the world you wanted to go. I mentioned I came from privilege earlier. And you got to go do something. It had to be not a vacation, but an adventure. So I had seen this documentary called Emmanuel's Gift, which was about an amputee from Ghana who raised money to buy a bike and then did a publicity ride across Ghana to raise money for prosthetics and wheelchairs for people in the country. So I took some inspiration from that and decided on Kilimanjaro and hiked it with my dad in 2007. And we raised like $200,000 for a charity called the Free Wheelchair Mission, which was an awesome organization that, provides affordable wheelchairs to people living with disabilities that don't have assistive tech. And it was absolutely shocking to me, the state of disability when I went over there. People who had similar disabilities to me, were crawling in the dirt. And it was just extremely eye-opening. It was the first time I really reflected on my own privilege and the fact that I have the technology in the community that's here to support me. And disability can be hard sometimes, for sure, but only really the sad part of the story is the lack of support that I saw over there. I've since heard it's gotten better, but it was really cool to be able to, bring a bunch of wheelchairs over and see it change people's lives. And more recently, I've climbed 2 other 19,000 foot peaks in Ecuador, Cotopaxi and Cayambe, and that's for an organization called the Range of Motion Project, which does similar work, like philanthropic work, bringing prosthetics to people who don't have access. So I climb those mountains with a big team of amputee climbers. It's really fun. I love mountaineering because it's just you versus a mountain and, monitor your inner dialogue. It's like, this sucks.
Well,
you're so hard. I'm scared. Yeah.
You've scaled 3 more 19,000 foot mountains than I have in my life, so that's a pretty good accomplishment. And I'm not on crutches.
I thought you've been on the mountain. No?
If you add all the mountains I've summited in my life, it probably equals 19,000.
That is really inspiring, Nico. Shifting back towards soccer, I want to touch on that. The vision you have for amputee soccer. You mentioned how much it's grown already in the last 10 years. Like, take me to the next 5-10 years. Like, what do you want to accomplish, and how do you see that vision playing out of where this can go in the US?
Yeah, the major goal is to have a robust league that has regional programs. And those would be affiliated with Major League Soccer and NWSL franchises. And within those programs, having programming for youth, and men and women. Also, people at the recreational level and the competitive level. So right now, because we don't have, all of those programs set up or the numbers to do it, it's kind of all put into one, which makes it difficult to, develop a recreational player or give them a space that's like, this is fun. I'm doing this because I enjoy playing soccer and I want to keep playing, to the person who's like, I'm looking to get on the national team and go win a World Cup. And then you got your 7-year-old who lost their leg last year or something. So really it's about doing the grassroots organizing to build a coalition of people who is ready to support that mission and fundraise for it. So we want to make our programs as accessible as possible. People with disabilities are far less likely to be employed and far less likely to be active on a sports team. And we know that being active on a sports team is one of the best things you can do for your physical and mental health. So there's all these overlapping things that are going on. To get those programs up and running, we need major partners. We need significant funding. We need to hire full-time staff. Right now, the AASA is pretty much a volunteer-driven organization. We have some more part-timers that are coming on, but we recognize like we need to treat this like a business and get the investment that we need to to put that plan into action. So that's the hope, is that in 5 years, we'll have an Eastern and Western Conference set up with men's and women's teams and a youth program at each, regular season competition, and then a U.S. championship that takes place in the fall. Oh, and we'd also like to win a World Cup for the men and the women.
Well, I was just going to ask you, Nico, before we get to extra time here, give us kind of the, the tiers or the power rankings heading into the World Cup next year. Who are which countries are your biggest competition coming into that? Who's kind of the perennial powers when these World Cups come about? Yeah,
they're, for the most part, they're kind of the usual suspects you would expect in the 11-side game. But there's also some standouts. Turkey are reigning world champions and have by far the strongest infrastructure for the sport in the world. They have multiple tiers with promotion relegation of professional teams. People go from around the world to play in Turkey and get paid to do so. And you can see it on the pitch. Like, instead of getting together and fundraising for a weekend training camp, they're being paid to play and living in a city with a team year round. So they're the powerhouse. They're the team to beat. It was absolutely wild. The last World Cup was in Istanbul, and they played at Galatasaray Stadium for the final. They won. And then Tayyip Erdogan, who's like their president, delivers the trophy. And he was there watching the whole game. I was like, and this would just never, ever happen in the United States. I can't even imagine a world in which this happens in the US. Maybe someday. But yeah, there's plenty of great teams. And really what we see is that the teams that have leagues that are set up and are strong and are funded, those people are playing, they're recruiting more players, bigger sponsors. And that's where we see folks coming in. We're ranked 15th in the world right now, based on the last World Cup out of about 80. And we have a really talented team. Top 5 in the world in terms of talent. But where we don't have the edge is in that team unity. We don't play enough together to really click. So that's part of what, fundraising and getting these more camps, making it more accessible to the players. We need to play, we need reps, and we have a really strong team. We could do something special. So I wouldn't count us out, but I would say it's a bit of a Cinderella story to win the World Cup.
Well, that's awesome. That's a year away. So we'll obviously be paying attention. That's great. I mean, that is insane about the resources that Turkey has at its disposal. It speaks to what you've been saying, though. Like, I mean, that's kind of what you need to elevate things to another level. You need that kind of backing and that kind of support. So hopefully you guys get there. We're now going to change our focus to extra time with David Yaz. Nico has agreed to join this wacky segment we do every time where we get some crazy questions from David. We'll see what he has up his sleeve today.
It's the end of regulation, so let's move to extra time.
Yes, welcome back to Extra Time. Every time Matt Langone promises something more wacky, I don't know what to do.
It's less wacky.
Right. I need some wild, wacky. I don't know.
I'm overselling it like North Carolina oversold Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
that's
It better be good.
in the spirit of Bill Belichick. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. It's the wacky. It's extra time. But seriously, folks, we have 3 questions for all 3 of our panelists here on the subject of the great game of soccer. First one, pretty easy, and we'll start with you, Nico. What's your first memory of watching a soccer game? That could be in person. That could be on the telly, as they say in Europe. Whatever. What's your first memory, Nico, of watching a soccer game?
It has to be the World Cup in 90. Was it 98?
Yep.
Yeah. World Cup 98. Remember watching at home on TV and being like, whoa, this is really cool.
Who was it that introduced you to it? Or did you just find it on yourself?
No, it was my dad. My dad will, he only watches sports every once in a while, and it's the World Cup and the Olympics, and he binges them. Other than that, he doesn't do it. And that's where it started for me.
And he takes 3.5 years off, I guess. Okay. But very cool.
Every 2.
Every 2?
Well, because the Olympics.
Oh, well, if you stagger them, right? Are they staggered? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Good math, Doherty.
I was told there would be no math.
Winter and Summer Olympics.
Right. Those are staggered.
It's not rocket science, guys. Come on.
Thank God. That's why we're talking about sports today. Matt Langone, your memories of first watching a game.
Yep, mine was also World Cup. Little bit earlier than Nico, though. Mine was the 94 World Cup, as I probably talked about ad nauseum on this
That's
podcast.
the USA one.
USA World Cup, USA hosted. I was 12 at the time, so I've been playing soccer for years, but you know how it was like for us growing up playing soccer, it just wasn't really at your disposal. There was no Premier League on Saturday and Sunday mornings. It was kind of, the MLS hadn't arrived yet. So the World Cup was kind of the first real exposure to high level soccer that you could get. And it was right in our backyard. So I was hooked on it. I watched as many matches as I possibly could that summer. I remember the final with Italy and Brazil is ingrained in my memory. So that was my first kind of loving and really realizing how good of a product soccer is on television and live. I mean, just no breaks. It was kind of when I fell in love with it.
So I'm a little younger than you guys, but
Rub it in.
my first, it might be the 06. When was the headbutt? The France headbutt.
Oh, with Zidane?
Yeah. Was that 06?
It might have been 06. Yeah.
So that was my first soccer memory. I was at my grandfather's nursing home and we had it. I think it was his birthday party and we had it on the TV in like one of those dining rooms.
That's awesome.
And that was my first soccer memory. So I was like 9 at the time, but I don't think I watched much soccer. It was like when the other World Cup was 02.
Right.
And I was too young to really remember that. And then there was no MLS. Like I wasn't, so I think that was my first soccer memory.
And then you were in the backyard practicing your
I was headbutting people.
Headbutting people in the chest.
I did play I started playing when I was 5. So I think I started headbutting when I was 10. That was kind of the move. And I started my dominance on the field. I couldn't do anything else. I was terrible.
Yeah, might as well headbutt people.
Yeah, just be a little physical.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you say 06?
Was it 06?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
Just want to fact check. Very good. Yeah, he won the player of the game trophy that day despite
Did France win that or was it France-Italy?
France-Italy. But didn't Italy win that World Cup?
I thought Italy won. Yeah.
But Zidane had a great cup though. I remember that because I mean Italy's my U.S. and Italy are always my teams, so that was a big one for us.
All right. Next question for overtime. I hope you can answer this, guys. But the soccer is famous for the chants that come from the fans, the songs. What is the most clever or memorable chant/song you've heard from the stands of a soccer game? We're going to start with Matt Langone. So, Nico, you have time to think about it.
Wow. I wish I had some time to think about it. Most memorable chant.
Wait, did I say Matt? I meant to start with Doherty. Do you have one, Doherty? No?
I'm not.
By the look on your face, no?
You know what's funny about
a specific chant with the words, like I have no
idea. Sometimes you can't even make out what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I love the chants.
Me too. Awesome. I just love the noise and the volume.
The noise in the background.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably go to like Ted Lasso because those are the only ones I can ever make. Those are the chants I can make out. But
do you remember what was his name? Jamie Tart?
The Jamie Tart.
That's
a good one.
That's not real though, guys.
No,
real one.
But it could be.
No, it should be. I can't specifically name one because I feel like I've never been in the venue for like a Premier League game or anything like that. And I've never been in the stadium for a World Cup match either. And those would be the best ones, I feel like. I mean, Revolution games, they do their chants and stuff, but they're just kind of, nothing special, I think.
All right.
Just Nico, save us.
Nico, what do you got? Any memorable chants or songs?
You'll Never Walk Alone.
Wow.
Okay. Well, tell us what's behind that.
Liverpool.
Okay. I'm not familiar.
Are you a Liverpool fan?
I'm a Liverpool fan, so I had to go with that.
Yeah,
but
that works.
All right.
Yeah.
Nico, have you been to a Liverpool match live or just on TV?
Oh, I haven't. I'm definitely trying to get over there.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the Prem on weekend mornings has got to be one of the best sporting viewing options.
You wake up and it's there. Yeah.
Oh, good.
All right. The final question for overtime is as follows. And we'll start with you, Nico. What single soccer play do you remember best that just made you say, wow? Like we're talking about incredible feats of athleticism, or otherwise it could be just the moment or anything that just made you drop your jaw and say, wow. Nico, does one come to mind?
Oh, just one?
Well, you can give us more than one.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Van Persie flying header. Wayne Rooney's bicycle kick. Yeah,
That's
a bunch are flying through my head,
Yeah.
but just that one moment that's like, this is magic.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you watch a basketball game and people can, the score's 120 to 115. Soccer, it's like someone did something absolutely special and it completely changed the game.
Yeah. Is there anything in a different sport you can compare to a bicycle kick in terms of what it requires? You know what I mean? Because like
No.
in baseball, you're hitting a moving object, but you're standing there.
Right. Right.
Like a one-handed catch in football, like a crazy one-handed catch.
I suppose, but
or
even
robbing a home
But even
run.
then, you're not contorting your body. Like a bicycle kick is crazy in the way you have to maneuver your body. And
plus,
anyone who's ever tried a bicycle kick, landing after a bicycle kick is like, could be
dangerous.
horrifying too. You just hope you don't break your neck.
I don't even think I could get my leg.
Yeah.
that high.
Well,
I can't. I know that.
Yeah, we think of Odell Beckham Jr.'s one-handed catch in the
Right.
NFL, which is amazing. But when you think about it, the equivalent to the bicycle kick would be if he then punched the ball through the uprights.
I'll give you the
you catch it, you hold on to it.
Remember the play last year in the NFL, Saquon Barkley, when I don't know if you guys saw it when he was running backwards,
he leapt
and
over,
hurdled the defender with his back to the knew the defense. I mean, that's not really it was one of the most incredible athletic things I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
But Rooney's bicycle kick was something that popped into my head too. I mean, any bicycle kick is one of those, even an attempted bicycle kick that misses in a soccer match, like just
It's
seeing
so
it is
cool,
like just cool to watch. Like it's like it's the one play in soccer where you're like, oh man, because it's rare, it's incredible athleticism, and it's terrifying to even try, because I mean, feet are swinging all over the place. Like, it's usually you're kind of usually doing it in the box in a crowd of people. It's an incredible play.
Matt Doherty, you got anything else that hasn't been mentioned yet? Like a memorable.
I mean, the only goal I ever scored in travel soccer, a little tapping in front of the net, comes to mind.
No, it doesn't.
I need some video evidence that actually happened.
Left foot. I couldn't score at all. But I mean, also going back to the World Cup, like Landon Donovan's goal in 2010.
Oh, that was electric when he scored. Yeah,
against Algeria, I think. That moment. It just, I think the call made it, and U.S. soccer wasn't great at the time, so I think they advanced. That might have been a knockout game.
Yeah.
Those two come to mind. I mean, obviously the Wayne Rooney bicycle kick is legendary. I also love an insane goalie save, like a high velocity shot where a goalie dives full out and punches, like a top right corner, dives, punches it away.
You want to see some awesome.
I love goalie moments.
You want to see some awesome highlights. If you ever Google the old goalkeeper from Mexico, Jorge Campos. I don't know if you guys remember that guy. He was short. He was like 5'6" or 5'7", but he was a freak athlete. And if you ever want to see crazy goalie saves,
I'll look it up.
That's the thing with this day and age with YouTube and stuff. You can go down a rabbit hole and type in Messi and find 75 plays that Messi made. And you're like, oh my god, that's insane. It's just an insane skill set to have.
Yeah.
Well, you've all done very well in overtime with saluting you. The Liverpool fans are saluting you by singing "You'll Never Walk Alone."
Oh, that is pretty good.
All right. Well, now that overtime is over, I'm afraid you do have to walk alone now. Back to you guys to wrap things up.
Thank you, David. As always, that was great. I think you challenged Nico. Nico, he needed some thinking time on those questions, right, Nico?
Well, big time. I was put on the spot.
He came up with the answers, though. You guys vamped.
And then we just hopped on his answers.
All right.
Yeah. But good stuff. Nico, thanks for joining us today. That was great. We'll obviously be keeping tabs on how you guys do next year at the World Cup, but even before that with the run in. And I know you have competition before that, including, like we said, in Massachusetts, in your home state this month. So best of luck to all of that. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. And for anyone that's interested in following along, you can watch us on YouTube or social media and stuff. And just having people follow and know about it means a lot. So we're working super hard behind the scenes here to put on a great product, and we want the world to see it. So appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on, and best of luck with everything that's coming up.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Nico. It was really nice talking to you.
Absolutely. Thanks again to Nico Calabria and Matt Doherty for joining the podcast. I'm Matt Langone. Thanks for listening. New England Soccer Journal's The Goal podcast is produced by David Yaz and is a Siemens Media production.
You've been listening to New England Soccer Journal's The Goal podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast. Or visit anysoccerjournal.com/podcast. Siemens Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.